Um, Imagine waking up to find out your electricity meter isn't just, tracking your kitchen appliances anymore. It's actually acting as a digital traffic cop for like 500 of your neighbors.
Right. Yeah, it is a pretty wild concept.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a massive mandatory rollout happening right now across Mexico. We're basing this on a recent press release from the CFE, the Federal Electricity Commission, and a May 2026 news report.
Yes, and it is a complete hardware replacement of household power meters.
Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is happening on the ground for consumers right now?
Well, basically, the CFE is systematically replacing the old analog meters. Those are called the waterimetros.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, and they are replacing them all across the country. And the key thing here is that this is not an optional upgrade. I mean, to maintain your electrical service, you literally have to accept the new meter.
Wow, mandatory. But do people have to pay for this?
No, actually, the CFE is providing both the equipment and the installation entirely free of charge. Officially identified CFE brigades are handling a staggered rollout, so they are hitting the areas with the most urgent infrastructure needs first.
Which, honestly, is a huge upgrade if you have ever tried to read one of those old analog meters.
Oh, absolutely. They were so confusing.
You essentially had to interpret 4 or 5 tiny dials, right? And you had to read some of them from right to left just to figure out a single number.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The new ones just simplify that to a really clean digital 6-digit screen.
It kind of feels like a forced smartphone operating system update. You can't skip it if you want the device to function. But once the restart happens, the interface is vastly improved.
That is a good way to look at it. But it is an OS update where you are not just updating the phone, you are updating the cell tower it connects to as well.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, these new meters change the fundamental relationship between the utility company and the consumer. I mean, they have Bluetooth built in.
Wait, Bluetooth? Like for my phone?
Yeah, exactly. Meaning they can integrate directly with smart home virtual assistants for, personal energy management. But more importantly, the CFE can now execute remote readings, service cuts, and reconnections 24 hours a day.
Wait, a remote service cut? That removes a lot of human friction.
It really does.
If there is a billing error or like a missed payment, a signal just shuts off the power instantly without a technician ever even coming to the house.
Yeah, instantly. Just a remote signal.
I mean, that is incredibly efficient for the utility company, but it is a little nerve-wracking for the user to hand over that much direct control.
For sure. But, well, what's fascinating here is the underlying framework making that instant communication possible. It is an architecture called AMAID. That stands for Autonomous Measurement Architecture for Energy Distribution.
Maybe, got it.
Right. And rather than every single house trying to send a signal all the way back to CFE headquarters, they operate as a mesh network. So a single meter on the side of a house can actually function as an access point for up to 500 other meters.
Wait, so my single house meter could act as a digital hub for my entire neighborhood?
Exactly. They basically pass data to each other like a digital bucket brigade.
Hold on. If my meter is processing data for 500 other homes, is my house suddenly doing the heavy data lifting for the utility company's network?
Well, think of it more like a localized, self-sustaining web. And that web is essentially the new nervous system for the national grid.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so the CFE uses that real-time neighborhood-level data to feed into their broader infrastructure overhaul. Specifically, there's a system called SNE.
SNE, what does that do?
SNE tracks meteorological data, things like incoming hurricanes or cold fronts. But instead of just watching the weather, the system uses the grid's data to predict exactly which physical assets will fail.
Wow. So it anticipates the damage.
Yes. This allows the CFE to pre-deploy repair teams and materials right to the edge of the blast zone before the storm even hits.
So they aren't waiting for the customer to call in an outage. The grid already knows exactly where the damage will happen.
Precisely. And they have also implemented over 4,500 automated circuits nationwide.
Automated circuits, meaning they run themselves.
Right. Normally, a tree hits a line and the whole neighborhood goes dark. But with these automated circuits, the system senses the voltage drop and physically reroutes the power around the downed tree in milliseconds.
Milliseconds. That is wild.
Yeah, it basically amputates the damaged section to keep the rest of the grid online.
Ah, that explains why the press release mentioned using virtual reality to train their workers.
Exactly.
If the grid is automatically rerouting high voltage on the fly, workers need to simulate those live scenarios safely before touching the physical wires.
Yeah, it is a complete shift in how they operate. The grid moves from a reactive posture where things break and we just wait for a truck to fix them to a proactive, self-healing network that isolates its own faults instantly.
So what does this all mean?
Well, simply put, it means that free, mandatory digital box being bolted to the side of the house is your personal gateway into a highly modernized, resilient national infrastructure.
It is the required hardware to make a whole country's energy system intelligent.
Exactly right.
It definitely changes how you look at that forced OS update. But it leaves you with something to ponder.
Well, for sure.
If a single smart meter can act as a local hub for 500 other homes in this self-sustaining web, how might this interconnected hive mind approach completely reshape our traditional ideas about individual household infrastructure and privacy?
It is a great question.
Definitely something to think about the next time your house gets a mandatory upgrade.